Imagine this. You're 28, slaving away in a dead-end factory job, barely scraping by, and your so-called friends are constantly rubbing it in your face. James, you're working your butt off, but you're still dirt poor. When's your life gonna change? Ouch, right? But what if I told you that James didn't just change his life, he flipped the script so hard that those same friends ended up begging him for jobs? Buckle up, because this is the story of how one guy's quiet rage turned $200 into sweet, satisfying revenge. If you've ever been doubted, belittled, or told you weren't good enough, and dreamed of shoving success right back in their faces, then smash that like button right now. Subscribe for more epic revenge tales and hit the bell so you never miss out. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll be fired up to chase your own comeback. Let's dive right in. In the heart of a bustling, unforgiving city, think crowded streets, honking cars, and the constant grind of people hustling just to survive, lived a young man named James. He was 28, with tired eyes from long shifts and calloused hands from factory work. His job at that small manufacturing plant paid the bills, but barely. Rent ate up half his paycheck, groceries took the rest, and by the end of the month, his bank account was a sad, empty echo. No vacations, no fancy clothes, just the daily drudge. James wasn't alone in his misery. He had friends, or at least people he called friends. They'd hang out after work sometimes, grabbing cheap beers at a dingy bar, and that's when the jabs would start. "James, man, you bust your ass every day, but look at you, still broke as hell. When are you gonna get your act together?" one would say, laughing like it was a joke. Another would pile on. "Yeah, dude, at this rate, you'll be flipping burgers till you're 60. Life's passing you by." It stung, deep down. James would force a smile, mutter something like, "Yeah, maybe someday." But inside, it burned. He felt small, trapped, like the world had already decided he was a loser. Nights alone in his cramped apartment, staring at the ceiling, he'd think, "Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Am I really that worthless?" One humid evening, trudging home from another exhausting shift, sweat soaking his shirt, the factory's metallic smell clinging to his skin, James spotted something that stopped him cold. An old man, weathered and wrinkled, sat by the roadside with a rickety juice cart. It wasn't much, a wooden stand on wheels, a few crates of fruit, and a manual juicer that looked like it'd seen better days. But customers swarmed it. Office workers, kids, even a cop on break. The air smelled sweet and tangy, like fresh oranges and lemons fighting back against the city's smog. Curious, James approached and bought a glass for $1. The juice hit his tongue like a revelation. Cool, vibrant, bursting with real flavor, nothing like the watery junk from chain stores. As he sipped, he struck up a chat. "Uncle, how long you been at this?" The old man wiped his hands on a rag, his eyes crinkling with a genuine smile. 15 years, son. This little cart, it puts food on the table for my whole family. Rain or shine, it's mine." James nodded, but his mind raced. Here was this guy, no fancy setup, no big savings, just hustling with what he had, and he was content, happy even. That night, James couldn't sleep. The old man's words echoed in his head, clashing with the doubts from his friends and his own fears. If he can do it with a cart, why can't I? But then the panic crept in, cold and familiar. I got no cash, no business smarts. What if I crash and burn? I'll end up on the streets. His heart pounded, sweat beaded on his forehead despite the fan whirring lazily. But buried under the fear, a tiny spark flickered, a voice whispering, "Screw that, at least try. What's the alternative? More of this endless nothing?" The next morning, sunlight slicing through his blinds like a wake-up call, James made his move. He wasn't quitting his job, not yet, he was stupid, but he was done waiting for some magical break. With his measly $200 in savings, scraped together from skipped lunches and odd jobs, he scanned his neighborhood like a detective. Early risers dashed to buses and trains, coffee in hand, but no real breakfast. Street carts hawked greasy fries and stale sandwiches, cheap but junky. Fancy cafes offered salads and smoothies, but at prices that made your wallet weep. There it was, a gap. People wanted healthy, quick, affordable fuel for their day, but what could he offer? Then it hit him, his mom's old recipe for energy bars. Simple stuff, oats for substance, honey for sweetness, nuts and dried fruits for crunch and nutrition. He'd helped her make them as a kid, the kitchen filling with warm, nutty aromas that made his mouth water. They were portable, tasty, and didn't need a fridge. Perfect. James hit the market that afternoon, bargaining hard for bulk oats, cheap honey from a local beekeeper, almonds on discount, and basic plastic wraps. His tiny kitchen became a makeshift factory that night. Counters cluttered, oven humming, the sweet scent battling the usual musty apartment smell. First batch, 50 bars. They weren't pretty, a bit lumpy, unevenly cut, but they tasted damn good. James boxed them up, nerves jangling like keys in his pocket. Before dawn the next morning, still in his factory uniform, he hit the streets. Nearby offices, corner stores, even a gym, he offered free samples with a shaky smile. "Hey, try this, homemade energy bar, healthy and cheap." Most folks brushed him off, eyes glued to phones, muttering, "Not interested." One guy even sneered, "Get a real job, kid." Rejection after rejection, it felt like punches to the gut. What am I doing? This is humiliating. My friends were right. I'm a joke. 2 weeks of that soul-crushing grind, James was ready to quit. But then, at a cozy little coffee shop tucked between high-rises, the kind with steamed windows and the rich smell of brewing beans, the owner, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, took a bite. Her face lit up. "Whoa, this is actually delicious. Nutty, not too sweet. Way better than the packaged crap I sell. Leave 20 with me. If they move, I'll call." James's heart leapt. He handed them over, barely believing it. 3 days later, his phone buzzed. All 20 gone. "Order 50 more," she said. Word spread like wildfire. One shop whispered to another. Soon, 5 spots were stocking his bars. Then 15. But it wasn't smooth sailing. Oh no. Suppliers hiked prices, forcing James to haggle like his life depended on it. Packaging ripped in transit, bars crumbling into messes. Worst was the spoiled batch. He messed up the honey ratio and mold ruined everything. Lost $50 he couldn't afford. Lying awake that night, staring at the ruined trays, he thought, "This is it. I'm done. Back to the factory forever." But that spark, it flared brighter. Learn from it, idiot. Fix the recipe. Buy better wraps. Keep going. He did. Tweaked the formula till it was foolproof. Scouted cheaper suppliers, building relationships with small talk and loyalty. Quality became his obsession. Every bar perfect. Every delivery on time. 6 months in, profits matched his factory pay. The decision loomed. Quit the soul-sucking job? Risk everything? His friends' voices mocked him in his head. "You're still poor." Not anymore, he thought, clenching his fists. He quit. Rented a tiny warehouse, concrete floors, flickering lights, but his. Hired 2 helpers from the neighborhood, kids like him once, hungry for a chance. Better mixers, ovens, production skyrocketed. Sales exploded, from 50 bars to thousands, over 100 locations citywide, gyms, offices, even supermarkets. James's brand, Rise Bars, became a quiet hit. He drove a used van now, not the bus. Ate real meals, not ramen. But the real fire, proving everyone wrong. Those friends, they noticed. Texts trickled in. "Hey man, heard about your bars. Hook me up." One even asked for a job. James smiled inwardly. "Now you see me." The peak came at a casual reunion. Same dingy bar, same crowd. James showed up not in factory rags, but clean jeans and a shirt that fit. His friends were there, same old complaints about their jobs. One joked, "James, you finally win the lottery or what?" He leaned back, casual as hell. "Nah, remember how you guys said I'd always be broke? Well, I started a business with $200. Now it's pulling 6 figures and I've got 15 employees." Silence. Jaws dropped. One stammered, "No way." Another's face turned red, envy twisting it. You serious?" James nodded, pulling out his phone to show orders rolling in. The humiliation in their eyes, priceless. They fidgeted, avoided his gaze, mumbling excuses. James felt it wash over him, not just triumph, but release. Years of doubt evaporated. He wasn't the loser anymore, he was the boss. Stories like James remind us revenge doesn't always mean destruction. Sometimes it's building something unbreakable from the ashes of doubt. Karma's real. What you put out comes back, and true justice, it's rising above those who tried to keep you down. Makes you think, what's holding you back? If James's epic comeback gave you that satisfying chill down your spine, drop a like to show some love, and comment below, what's the sweetest revenge you've pulled off or seen? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more Reddit revenge stories coming your way that'll keep you hooked. Thanks for watching, and remember, your comeback starts now. See you in the next one.